I've been a coach for over 15 years and I've trained over 1,000 men. And over those years, I've seen firsthand what habits will actually get you ripped. So in this video, I'm breaking down the 7 most common habits that I see in guys that stay lean and shredded. If you want to get ripped and see your abs, all you're going to do is plug and play what I'm about to share in today's video. Let's jump right into it. Okay, habit number 1 is you want to set up your all-inclusive meal plan. I'll explain how to do that in just 1 second. But when I was a rookie coach, one of the biggest mistakes I used to make with a lot of the guys was when guys were trying to get lean and shredded, I used to make meal plans for them that had way too much variety. So I'm talking like different foods every single day, every single week, and there was just no routine or structure in it. And a lot of the times, they couldn't follow that meal plan long term because there's way too much variance in the foods over the course of days and over the course of weeks. So here's what you want to do, and here's what you need to do. Send out that all-inclusive meal plan, and I'll tell you exactly what I do, and you can basically copy my exact system. So what I do for Sunday, let's say I'm talking about dinner here. If I'm cooking for Sunday dinner, I'll cook leftovers for the Monday. If I'm cooking for Tuesday, I'll cook leftovers for the Wednesday. And for Thursday, I'll cook leftovers for the Friday. And this Saturday, we'll have a little more variety. But I'm basically having those 3 dinners, different dinners, on repeat every single week. My breakfast stays the same, which is essentially oatmeal with a protein scoop in it. And for lunch, it stays the same as well, chicken burgers with a salad. So this is why I like to call it the all-inclusive plan. Like if you've ever been on an all-inclusive vacation, you know, basically it's almost the same foods, right? Like every single day. They basically have it. You know, people come in next week, it's the same routine they have. And this is exactly what you need to do, because the more consistent you can have and be with your foods, the better it's going to be. So my big takeaway for you is try to aim for 2 to 3 different dinners that you enjoy and have those meals on blast and repeat nonstop. Try to have 2 lunches maximum, and same thing, have it on repeat. And breakfast, same thing, have 2 meals maximum that you have on repeat. If you do that, you're gonna be consistent. You know how many calories are in those foods, and then there's no guesswork. And if you just do this over the course of weeks, in the course of months, you're gonna get lean, you're gonna get shredded. It's that simple. The second habit that you wanna have is you wanna track your calories and or you wanna have great calorie awareness. Now, I know what you're thinking. Rich, that's a pain in the ass. I don't wanna track calories every single day. I totally get it. I don't track calories anymore. But the cool part is, if you follow what I said in point number 1 about having those similar foods, you don't have to track calories every single day. And here's what I recommend doing. And here's what the guys that I've already coached have done to get lean and shredded also. Track for a few weeks. Once you know how many calories are in what, and assuming you're having those consistent foods like I talked about before, then obviously you don't have to track every single day, because if you know you're having chicken burgers and a salad, for example, you know the macros, you know the calories, you don't have to plug it into MyFitnessPal every day. That's why I'm saying consistency, which I talked about before, is so important, because you don't have to live on MyFitnessPal. And maybe this Saturday, let's say if you do have some variety, then maybe you can track those days, like if possible. But your big takeaway here is, if you want to get lean and shredded, you either got to track calories for a few weeks and then taper off, assuming you have those consistent foods, and or you want to have great calorie awareness to make sure you know how many calories are in what. Because if you're guessing with calories, you're just basically throwing a dartboard blindfolded. You're hoping to get lucky, and it's not a sustainable long-term system. So track your calories for a few weeks, taper off, have those consistent foods, and those are 2 of the main 7 habits that you need if you want to get shredded. 3 is you want to front load your protein earlier in the day. Now, let me tell you a bit of a story here that might really resonate with you, especially if you're pretty bad at school like myself. So about 15 years ago, like when I was in college, I'm getting a little bit older now, I used to really struggle with my grades and I used to suck on my exams. And a big reason I was pretty bad at exams was because I tried to cram study everything the night before, and I did nothing to prepare for the exam days and weeks beforehand. And the result was I did pretty crap in my exams. Who would have guessed, right? Well, similar with protein, I want you to think of it this way. If we can get our protein out of the way earlier in the day, we have a lot more room for error later in the day. Because if you try to have your protein like later at night, like let's say you're trying to have like 100, 150 grams, like 5 p.m. onwards, 3 things are probably going to happen. Number 1, you're not going to hit your protein targets pretty consistently because it's going to be annoying to do. Number 2, you're going to feel full. Like, I don't know about you, like, I don't want to eat 2 chicken breasts and a protein shake at like 6 p.m. at night. Like, that just kind of sucks. And the third thing, like I kind of already mentioned, it's going to be annoying and your compliance is just going to go, basically going to go down because it's going to be hard to stick to for the long term. So your big takeaway is try to front load 100 to 125 grams of protein basically just after lunch. So for most people, before 12:30, because if you do that, you have so much more room for error later in the day, and you're actually going to hit your protein targets, which is something a lot of guys really struggle with. So front load your protein earlier in the day, and if you don't know what to have and like what sort of protein sources you should be eating, go in the comments below. I give you 40 free high protein recipes that you can plug and play. Okay, habit number 4 is they lift 2 to 4 times per week and they stick to the same program. Now, most guys do 2 main things wrong when it comes to working out. Number 1, and this isn't as important, but you're changing up the program way too frequently. But number 2, and most importantly, is if you don't get 4 workouts in, oftentimes, most guys will just say, I'll start back next week. And typically speaking, it ends up being 0 workouts. Now, most guys who are in shape do imperfect action. So let's say the desired workouts are 4 times per week, but let's say you just can't do it. Most guys who are in shape will still do 2 to 3 workouts, live the fight another day, and then the next week, when maybe they're not as busy, they can kind of get back to that regular schedule and then hit the 4 workouts, opposed to just doing 0 and saying, I'll start back the following Monday. Now, the second thing, this isn't as important, but a lot of guys just program hop way too frequently. So instead of doing like similar movements that where you get better at and get stronger with, you're basically changing the workouts up like every single day, every single week, and you have no consistency, kind of similar to what I talked to with the meal planning. Now, a good rule of thumb that you can do is do the same workouts for about 4 to 6 weeks, get stronger and better at those movements. And then let's say you kind of maxed out your strength and maybe you're getting a little bit bored with the workouts, then you can change things up. But your big takeaway here is if you can't get 4 workouts per week, still do 2 to 3, even though it's not perfect. And the second thing, what I mentioned, if you're changing your program up way too often, try to stick to similar exercises, get better, get stronger at them. And then once you're going to get bored and then you plateaued, then you can change things up about 4 to 6 weeks from that desired date. Okay, habit number 4, and this is going to be a very quick one for you, but they walk every single day. Now, have you noticed a theme so far in the 4 habits that I've talked about? None of them are sexy, right? Like I'm talking about tracking calories, I'm talking about eating protein, and I'm talking about working out consistently, and now I'm talking about walking every single day. So it's like no keto, no crazy stuff. It's the boring stuff that works. Now, if you do want to get ripped, there's 2 main things that walking is going to do for you. Number 1, it's like low impact fat loss. So it's a way of kind of burning calories without completely crushing your body. I'm not going to talk too much about that because that's kind of boring. But the second thing, and most importantly is, which marries well to the next point, is it helps build that discipline and that mental toughness and that same routine every single day. Again, eating the same foods very similar every day, working out consistently every single week, right? So your big takeaway is try to walk at least 30 minutes 5 times per week, like at least. If you do that, it's going to help with your calories burned, but most importantly, it's going to help with the mental toughness and discipline, which we're going to talk about right now. Habit number 6, they set 3 to 5 non-negotiable tasks and they stick to them every single week. Now, at your job, whether you know it or not, but if you're successful at your job, I guarantee you're doing 3 to 5 non-negotiable things. So maybe it's like showing up, maybe it's showing up on time, and maybe it's like sending X amount of emails or doing X amount of tasks, like whatever your job requires you to do. In order to be successful, like you have to do about 3 to 5 main things at your job. Well, it's the same thing now when it comes to fitness. And if you want to be successful, losing fat and keeping it off, we got to build and set out 3 to 5 non-negotiable tasks for you. And we'll do that here in just 1 minute. Now, for example, like for me, I'll tell you exactly what my 4 non-negotiables are, and then we're going to build it out for yourself. So for me, it's at least 4 workouts per week. So typically speaking, it is 5, but non-negotiable means like you have to do them. So make sure you set these numbers a little bit lower to make sure you hit that floor, and then anything above is just like gravy. So I do at least 4 workouts per week. I have at least 150 grams of protein every single day. I walk 30 grams. I walk 30 minutes every single day, and I sleep no less than 7.5 hours every single day. So those are my 4 non-negotiable tasks that I do every single week, unless I'm on like vacation in Dominican, which I'll be next month for a week or so, because I'm not doing that. Like I'll be drinking pina coladas on the beach. But let's build it for you now, and I'll give you some examples. So like, how many workouts can you commit to per week? Maybe how many grams of protein can you commit to? How many calories are you going to have? How many steps and or how long are you going to walk for every single day? And then if possible, think of it as like a lifestyle factor. So maybe it's like getting X amount of sleep. Maybe it's like doing whatever, meditation, stretching, mobility, like whatever it is, try to think lifestyle. But the more non-negotiable tasks you set up for yourself, the better it's going to be. So your big takeaway here is, if you want to get lean and shredded, set up 3 to 5 of those non-negotiable tasks. But the kicker is you have to stick to them no matter what. So when you build these out right now, make sure they're attainable, you can do them, and then you have to do them, because if you don't, then they're technically not non-negotiable. Habit number 7, then don't let 1 or 2 bad days turn into a bad week, or even worse, a bad month. Now let me ask you a question. If you're driving your car and you notice you had a flat tire, would you get out of your car and slash the other 3 tires? Probably not, right? Like, I'm assuming, or at least I'd hope, you would get out of your car, fix your flat tire, and then you get back to your everyday routine. Well, it's the same thing now when it comes to like eating and fitness, right? Let's say you have a bad day or two, so we have like a flat tire. It doesn't make much sense if you say, I'll start back next week, or I'll start back when it's more convenient, maybe a few weeks or a month down the road, because that's the equivalent of just slashing another tire. You're just going to make things worse. And all guys who are shredded have had bad days before. Like, it happens, but a common habit they do is they get back on track right away. They don't slash your other tires, because the longer you go in terms of having like a bad day, which transitions to a bad week, the harder it's going to be, of course, to lose fat over the course of 365 days a year. So your big takeaway is, if you have a bad day or two, which you will, it's going to happen. It happens to me. It happens to every single person. Get right back on track right away. Don't wait, and don't slash your other 3 tires. Now, if you want to watch a video that's a lot more practical, that tells you basically how many calories to eat, protein, workouts, like what workouts to do, etc., check this video link below. It'll tell you exactly what to do. And if you found this video helpful, please make sure to like and subscribe. It would mean the world to me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in this video up here.